I'm Alice Sullivan. I'm a sociologist and head of research at the UCL Social Research Institute. My research on reading has led to literacy organisations changing practices, improving children's learning and development, and influenced policy around the world. I first realised that my research on reading for pleasure was generating quite a lot of interest when a colleague from the communications team excitedly told me that the press release they'd put out on my findings had generated 85,000 hits on the website. And it was followed by a flurry of inquiries from parents, teachers and librarians who wanted to know more. I think the reason there was so much interest in the research is that it established something that people had long suspected but been unable to prove, which is that reading for pleasure is vital for learning. And the findings have been used by major literacy organisations to make the case for the importance of reading. For example, Karina Spalding has used the research to support the Reading Agency's programmes.
So we use Alice's research really to give a real scientific weight to the underpinning of the work that we do. Everything that we do is evidence-based, and Alice's research is rigorous, more rigorous than anything that we could do at the individual charity level and even at the sector level. So it gives that scientific weight underpinning the evidence that feeds into all of our programmes.
Previous research had already shown that bright children tend to read for pleasure more than their less able peers. But does reading for pleasure increase the rate of children's learning? That's the question that Matt Brown and I set out to answer using the ESRC-funded 1970 British cohort study, which follows the lives of more than 17,000 people born in Britain in 1970. We compared children from the same socioeconomic backgrounds who achieved similar tested abilities at ages 5 and 10 and discovered that those who frequently read books at age 10 and 16 had higher test scores in vocabulary and maths than those who read less. In fact, the impact was around 4 times greater than that of having a parent with a university degree. But people have been more surprised by the fact that reading for pleasure seems to contribute to young people's development in mathematics. I'd suggest that reading also introduces young people to new ideas. Along with teaching them new vocabulary, it helps them to understand and absorb new information and concepts at school. By 2012, our 1970 British cohort study kids were 42 years old. And we asked them to complete the same vocabulary test they took when they were 16 in 1986. We were able to show that the benefits of reading for pleasure extend into midlife, and that what you read matters as much as how much you read. 42-year-olds who read demanding fiction learned the most new words between the ages of 16 and 42.
I think the impact of Alice's work is, firstly on individual lives, but more importantly, that can happen on a wider scale as well, and there can be, real societal uplift through social mobility and people from disadvantaged backgrounds more broadly.
I'm delighted that our research has struck a chord with policymakers, parents, teachers, librarians, and literacy campaigners, and that they've been able to use the research to make the case for libraries and for space in the crowded school day for reading for pleasure.